Our second award is the Peter White Award nomination, and this year we are giving it to Central Upper Peninsula and Northern Michigan University Archives. Leslie Warren, NMU Intern Associate Provost, was the one who nominated this entity. I'm going to read her nominations. I'm honored to nominate the Central Upper Peninsula and NMU Archives for the 2022 Peter White Award. The archives serve as a repository for unpublished organizational records and personal papers that document the history of NMU and the Central Upper Peninsula. Through its collections, programs, and services, the archive supports our community's need to preserve, share, and interpret local history. In addition to serving the broader Upper Peninsula community, the archivist, Professor Marcus Robyns, regularly works with students and faculty to engage emerging scholars in UP history and primary resources in general. The archive's collections address the historical research needs of the general public, schools, and scholars. The archives was established in 1992 to house NMU records. Several years later, the archives began adding regional manuscripts. Its collection now focuses on Northern Michigan University, the history of the iron mining industry, the history of politics and government, the history of organized labor and labor activism, the history of environmental conservation and preservation, and the history of the LGBTQ community. The Archives is committed to preservation and access of materials throughout the UP. Thanks to Professor Robyns' leadership, for example, NMU received a grant funding to create Upper Peninsula Digital Network, better known as Uplink, a low-cost, secure, and geographically distributed digital preservation and access service for locally creative digital primary source material documenting the history of the Upper Peninsula. The collaborative project consists of 2 active service hubs capable of converting photographic, textual, and analog audio-visual media to a digital format. As the network's principal service hub, NMU curates and provides public access to digital collections via Archive Space and Islandora. Uplink also contributes digital object metadata to the Michigan hub of the Digital Public Library of America and other emerging national networks. Uplink is managed by a board of directors representing the many heritage organizations that are Uplink members. The archive serves as a resource and laboratory to stimulate creative teaching and learning through the use of primary research materials and provide instruction in the use of those materials. Each year, the Archives provides integrated information, literacy instruction for NMU undergraduate and graduate courses. It also hosts public programs and shares online exhibitions of digital reproductions of original records researched, written, and designed by Archives student assistants. In 2022, for example, the Archives hosted presentations by author Eugene Millheiser and Phyllis Wong. The Archives is a local records depository for the State of Michigan Archives. The Archives acquires, maintains, and makes available to researchers the archival records of townships, municipalities, and county governments in the central UP. The University Archivist provides archival and record management consultation services to regional and historical societies. So, without further ado, Marcus. We are. Beth, when are we doing the photo op?
If we get people to scoot into you're not going to find them.
Here. Put that up so they can see. Yeah, there you go.
That's after you get yours on there.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Okay. Let me help you play hard.
Well, I am nervous as anything. I'm usually not nervous in front of public speak, doing public. See, I can't even talk. I've been worried all day that I'm going to say a bad joke about somebody's spouse. It is a great honor to be here today, especially with Mr. Parlin, Dr. Parlin, who I can remember the many days he came into the archives to do his research on the Tioga project, and also on the more recent one with the county coroner's reports. And I think the fact that he is getting the award today and we're getting the award today is indicative of what we all do. The Historical Society, the Marquette Regional History Center does, and what we do. And there's a see, I can't even speak now. There's a convergence of effort here. Uplink was an idea that came to my mind, but it crystallized with the help of Beth Gruber, who is a librarian here. In fact, Beth was intimately involved as one of the members of the planning group that spent a year crunching numbers that we gathered during the summer of not a year, it was fall of 2019. So it's an example of a long history of collaboration between ourselves and the History Center and the library that I think is really important in maximizing our limited resources. And I also want to mention Rosemary Michelin, who is also very much involved in the archives and working with us and visiting us and working together on projects. So with that background, it's a tremendously grateful honor for us to be here today. And I want to thank the board, and I want to thank Susan Hornbogen, and especially Chris Dozier, and everybody else here today for nominating us and for this award. But most of all, I want to thank these people behind me, which are our student assistants and our staff. This is Annika Peterson, who is the person that actually makes Uplink a reality. She's our digital project manager, and Samantha Kiranen. God, I can never pronounce her Finnish name. Who is our collections management assistant, and then we have everybody knows Karen Casper, the consummate researcher, genealogist, and volunteer. She's been with us for 10 years, if you can believe that. Sometimes I forget that I don't even pay her. I get mad at her when she's late. What is this? You're 15, then she leaves early, and I'm saying, what are you talking about? And then I forget that I don't pay her. And then our wonderful student assistants, Ara.
Well, we trust.
Yes, see, that's Elijah, Caitlin. If without them, I wouldn't have been here, wouldn't be standing here today. Our student assistants are the crux of the archival program at Northern. I mean, they do everything. From processing collections to dealing with Hunter's constant email reference queries to us. He keeps us busy. he does. There he is over there. And with questions that just blow me away, but somehow they've managed to figure some of them out. I also, of course, want to thank my boss, Leslie Warren, who has made my life so much better the last 10 years. And earlier today, I thought she'd only been here 7 years. She really changed things for us and has been an indomitable support, both financially and morally, and it's been great. So with that, I say thank you again very much, and hope we can continue working together and continue to do our job in documenting the history of this great region. Thank you.